So welcome you all in the 7th lecture of embedded system. So in the last lecture we have discussed about field programmable gate arrays, and we have seen that this FPGA contains a configurable logic block, right? And there are several thousands of CLBs in the FPGA, right? And we have also seen that there are interconnections to connect the number of CLBs, and those interconnections and CLBs are programmable, right? So that's why we call it as programmable gate arrays. Now we have seen that for establishing there are two types of techniques. One is anti-fuse technique and another is SRAM based technique. So SRAM based technique provide programmability, so we use SRAM based interconnection techniques. Also we have seen an example for designing a very simple system on FPGA, and we have also determined the configuration bits which are generated, right? So today we will continue that topic. Okay, so we know that we can write any program in the VHDL, right? VHDL programming language. So we have seen in the last class that for developing any program we need a developing environment, and Xilinx provide you a developing environment that is called as ISE, right? So you can download the ISE, and there is user constraint file where a user can make changes to make the connections, explicitly. So what is that, we will see with an example today. So in the last lecture we have started a small example to define an entity, right? So we have taken a very small example to define an entity. So there is an entity, suppose we want to define any entity. So it has some input ports and it has some output ports, right? So we have to define, in the VHDL programming we have to define first the entity and there are ports, right? So there are two kinds of definitions of VHDL can be done, which is nothing but the behavioral and structural, right? So in this lecture we will see the behavioral programming within a small example. So let's suppose we want to define a half adder, right? So we want to define a half adder entity. So we want to define a half adder entity. So what a half adder has? So a half adder has two inputs, A and B. Suppose we want to add two numbers, so that can be done using half adder, right? And it has one enable to start the addition, right? And we have two outputs, that is sum and carry. So this is a basic entity of a hardware. Okay, you can consider this is a basic black box of a half adder, and we call this as an entity in the VHDL programming, right? So this entity we have to define in the VHDL, which can be done as entity half adder. So this is the user name, which any user can give any name, is. So this is the keyword, is the keyword, right? So the name is half adder. So the port or the entity name we are keeping it as half adder, right? So now it has some ports, so we have to define the port. So how many ports are there? There is a port A, okay, and B, and third port is input port is enable, right, which is of type in, and this is the data type. It is defined in bit. It can be either 0 or 1, it can be either 0 or 1. Similarly, you can define output ports. So those are C, comma C, comma S, carry and sum, and which are of output port and data type bit, right? So this is how. Yeah, one more thing is we have to AND the entity. So for ending the entity, we have to write AND half adder, right? So this is how an entity is defined in the VHDL, right? Is this clear to you? Now these are actually standard logics, okay, bit type, so it is defined somewhere, right? So for example, in C we include some header files, those are library files. So in the same way, we have to include the VHDL library, which are nothing but we have to write it as library. One is IEEE library, which you have to include, and another is standard logic. These two library which you have to include in the VHDL programming, right? Okay, so there are some standard way of program or VHDL programming. So I can define a port in the VHDL as, so how can I define a port? So for defining the port, what I have to do, I can write the name of the port, right? So what is the name of the port in the last? A is the name of port, B is the name of port, right? So those kind of what is the name of the port, right? So that is not reserved. Okay, so you can use any word which is not reserved, right? So you can define any word which is not reserved, right? Which is not reserved. So we have chosen A, B and a number. So these are not reserved in VHDL, so we can use the name of the port. Second thing which we can include, that is the mode. So it can be input or output or in out. So there are 4 kinds of mode which we can define. One is input, another is output, and there is in output, okay, bidirectional ports, and last is if you want to store it as a buffer, so another port we can define it as buffer, right? And third thing will come in the port as data type. So what could be the data type? So here we have defined the data type as bit because we have inputs in 0 and 1. If there is a vector, so let's suppose input is a vector of 4 bits, right? So so let's suppose the output or input is a vector. So let's suppose it's a 4-bit vector. So we can define it as 3 to 0, right? So this is where you have to define the data type. So what could be the data type? It could be any declared or predefined type, right? So these are already defined actually. So bit is already defined. Similarly, you can define a vector 3 to 0, right? So these are all predefined data types which are included in this library, standard logic library. Is this clear to you? So this is how we can define a port in the VHDL. Now if you want to define a constant, let's suppose you want to define a constant, okay, how do I define a constant in VHDL? For example, you want to define a rise time. So so and so rise time is there in this process. So how can I define a rise time? You know what is rise time? Rise time is nothing but any process takes some time to settle down, and let's suppose this is the one. So about 60%, 67% of the time is called as TR, rise time, right? So if I want to define a rise time, which is a constant time, how can I define it? So I have to use a keyword constant. I have to use a keyword constant, then I can define a rise time, which is user defined. So I can define it as a rise time, rise underscore time. Okay, then colon, it is of time. Okay, now if you want to define the time also, I can define it like this: colon equals to 2 millisecond, right? So this thing and it is an optional, it is not compulsory to write. If you want to define the rise time, you can define it, otherwise you have to write this command in VHDL. Similarly, if I want to define data buses, okay, so this is of time type, right? So if I want to define data bus, so how can I define data bus? So data bus for definition we have to use colon here, then it is of, let's say, integer type. Okay, if I want to define, I can define, otherwise there is no need. This is not mandatory, this is a optional. Okay, so data bus is of 16, right? So the data bus or address bus, how many bytes it is using. Okay, so that is defined here. So this is also optional. Another constant you want to define, so let's suppose if you want to define a constant name, so how will I define a constant name? So this is how you have to define. So in general, if I write it down, in general, if I want to define a constant, how will I define constant? Any constant name that is user defined, it is of which type? It could be integer type or it is a time. These are standard logic defined in the library, right? And this is the optional part, okay, which you can define the value also. Is this clear? Is this clear to all of you? Now this is the way we can define a constant and a port. Now constant we have defined. Now what is the next thing? Suppose you want to define a variable. In C easily we can define a variable, right? It is of int a, right? Integer type a. Okay, easily we can write int a, int b, right? So that, how do we define variables in the VHDL? So for defining variable, so how can I define a variable? I have to use a keyword variable. I have to use a keyword variable. So let's say that I want to define a variable name as opcode. Okay, and what is the data type of this one? Let's say the data type of this one is bit vector. Okay, there is a bit type, another is bit vector type. Okay, so that it is a vector, so we have to define from where to where it is going. Like it is a of 4-bit vector or 8-bit vector, we have to define explicitly. So I can write it down. It is 3 down to 0. 3 down to 0. Okay, so it is a vector type, bit vector, that is 4 bits, right? And I can define the value also, that is optional. So that can be defined it as a colon equals to 0 0 0 0, right? So initially I have defined the values of bit vector as 0 0 0 0. Can close it. Let's take another example. Suppose I want to define a variable frequency, so that is user defined. Okay, so that is of integer, that is of integer type. Okay, if I don't want to define the value, I will close it here, right? So in general How can I define a variable? I have to use a keyword variable, then variable name will come and its data type, and this part is optional, which you can define the value of that variable, right? So in C, basically we define a variable, right? But when you talk in hardware, right, for example, let's take an example. Let's suppose this is a some frequency, some signal is coming up a particular frequency. Okay, so what is happening, once this signal is come, okay, once this signal will come here, it will store that particular value of a frequency, right? So the signal in C, once you are writing in a software programming, there is no need of this signal. So once it is come, it will store in that variable, right? So variable, you can define it as an variable data type, variable standard name, right? You can define it as with variable standard name. Now there is something in, when you talk about hardware, there is something called connections. How will I make a connection? So for defining the connections, we use the keyword signal. So what is the signal keyword? Signal keyword is nothing but something is there on that wire. Okay, for example, a signal is coming. So when we define a signal, the signal will go and it will go to this, let's say FPGA, and this is gone. Now it is not available. Okay, so once we define the signal, then only it is available, let's say for particular time. After that it is not available in variable, but in variable that is always available. Suppose if I define a variable frequency of particular value, let's suppose 5 megahertz, it is always there in that variable, but it is not there in the wire, right? So wire connections are defined it as signal, because this VHDL is a hardware programming language, right? So hardware description language, so it has to describe the hardware. So for defining the wire connections, there is a keyword signal. Okay, so how can I define a signal? So let's suppose if I want to define a signal, bus ready signal. Okay, what is bus ready? Bus ready means it is available, something is available on the particular bus, and it is of data type bit. It can be either 0 or it can be 1. Similarly, if I take another example, signal output of integer type. So let's say if I define a output that is of type integer, and the value of this is defined as 2. So the output is 2. That means when you write this signal, this is available on this wire. So the value is available on wire, and it is, once it is reached at the output, it is not no longer available, but in variable that value is stored, right? So this is the difference between a variable and a signal. Okay, we will see in more detail why the signal is required, right? So we will take an example, a small example, to illustrate these connections, like how the signal is used. For example, what you want to do, you have an FPGA, let's say you have an, so this is an FPGA, this is your Xilinx processor in between, and there are some pins here and there. Okay, and you have USB port here, another external interface here. Okay, there is a crystal oscillator, there are so many other interfacing devices. Okay, so in Xilinx or FPGA, these connections are not there. You have to program the connections, right? So these connections are not already inbuilt. You have to program the connection, right? Or you have to also program the pins, right? Which pin you want to define as particular input pin or output pin or any other to connect any other interrupt or any other external device. So last time one student asked actually one question, what is the difference between a microcontroller and FPGA, right? What is the basic difference between microcontroller and FPGA? So overall those are similar, but in microcontroller it is of the functionality. There is a difference between the functionality. So it is for defining a software, and it is particularly for defining hardware. So in microcontroller, basically it is for defining a program in the software, where FPGA talks about hardware or gate circuitry level, right? So we will see with an example that how can I define or how can I design a very simple circuit which is of blink LED. Okay, suppose you want to blink LED, how can I implement on a hardware? So let's define a circuit which we want to build. So we want to build a circuit which is nothing but of blink LED, and there is some input. So input clock is coming with 50 megahertz, and I have to glow a LED every 1 second. So what is my objective? So my objective is, so here it is of 50 megahertz, clock is of 50 megahertz, that means 5 million times it is toggling. And what is my objective? Every 1 second I have to glow or blink the LED, and other second I have to switch off the or turn off the LED. So this is my objective. Now how can I define this in a VHDL programming? So first I have to define an entity. Okay, so the entity name I can keep it as blink LED, and this is of keyword is, and I have to define the port in the entity. So there are two ports, one is clock and another is LED. So clock is in mode, and this is in out mode, and this is of data type standard logic. This is also of data type standard logic, right? Now I can close the entity. So my entity is created in the VHDL. So what is the entity name? So entity name is blink LED. So we have defined the entity blink LED in the VHDL. Now what is the next thing we have to do? We have to define the connections, right? So how this will work actually? So we have to define the architecture or behavior of this entity. So how will I define? So how will I define a entity behavior in VHDL programming? So I have to use a keyword architecture of behavioral, okay, of which entity? The entity name is of blink LED is. Now I have to write the architecture in this begin and behavioral, right? Now how will I do this thing? What should be there? So there are two things. So what I want actually, the clock is toggling 5 million times, so I have to count the clock, okay, which pulse is running. Okay, so when 1 second is over, I have to count, right? So after 5 million basically toggle, I will get the 1 second. So I have to count. So I need a counter, right? So I need a counter. So counter is having some process. So we have to define a process, and that is given by keyword process, and input is clock. Then I can define this thing in process. I can define begin and process. Now how it will work? So we have to check the clock event. Okay, so when will it will work? So I'll check the first of all I'll check the clock is 1 or not, right? So and another thing is, so I have to check the event, right? Which event is running, and another thing is, and clock is 1 or not, right? So these two things we have to check, then only it will work, right? Then we have to close the loop. Now how will I define this? So for particular case, we have to check that how many times it is toggling. So it is toggling 5 million times, right? Then only I can start and off the LED. So let's suppose if I define it, that is the general architecture way which we define. Now specifically for this example, how can I define it? So first of all we have to define architecture that is of behavioral of blink LED is. Now we have to define, how will I define it? So for defining that we need to define a signal, right? So what is having, this is an entity, and we have to check this signal where that clock is available or not. First of all we have to check that, right? So we have to define some variables, right? So this is not variable, this is wire we have to define, right? This is not a particular variable, we have to define a wire, that on this wire clock signal is available or not, right? So how will I define it? So I have to define with the keyword signal, and signal is of, I can define signal with the pulse that I will be using in the process. How can I define it? Signal pulse, it is of standard logic type, and I am defining, initializing the value to 0. Okay. Another signal I am defining, that is of count, because we have to count, right? It has to count 50 million times, so I need another signal, right? So signal is available and it is to toggle to 5 million times, so we need a count. So I am defining signal as count, that is of integer type, And what is the range? The range 0 to 5 million times. So 0 to 5999, 6 times 9 will come. Okay, so I can define it also. Initially it is also 0. Okay, so this is not the bit, so I can define it is like this. It is 0. Now what is the process? So process will come here. So begin. So I need a counter process, and input will be clock. Okay, so what is the process? If I define a process, how the process looks like? So I have to check for the clock's event. Event means we want to define it as rising edge. So I will check the event, it is rising or falling, and I have to check another thing is clock equals to 1, then only I can do this thing, right? So what will happen? Then we have to check the count. So if count is 49999, right, then one is count, I am checking. Another thing I have to check is, what we have to do, I have to write count less than equals to 0. What is the meaning of this one? That first of all I have to check that initially the count is 0, right? We have to again the count to 0. So it is counted to 5 million times. Then I have to either I have to blink the LED, or I have to keep switch off. Then again I will reinitialize the count to 0 and pulse to not pulse. Again I have initialized it. Else, if that thing is not there, count will be incremented. So count will be count equals to count plus 1, right? So this is how we define the assignment operator. So you will be confusing that why I am writing less than equals to sign. So this is the assignment operator in VHDL. Is this clear to you? Okay, now we can close this if loop and I can close the process, and then what I have to do? So now what you did actually, you have, so let's say this is a FPGA and you have dumped the program of blink LED in a processor. Okay, now this LED will be connected externally and input is also connected externally. So now you have defined it, this thing. Now what you have to do, you have to, it is not connected to LED till now, right? So how will I connect it? When you are synthesizing it, you have to make explicitly connection in the UCF file. So this is not connected. Now you have to explicitly connect this to here and this to output, and that can be done in UCF file. Okay, that you have to do in UCF file. So this connection is not done. In microcontroller it is simply done. When you are dumping a program, it is already connected, so it will glow the LED, but here it is not the case. Here you have to make this connection in the UCF file, right? So I have to define, right? So I have to write another VHDL code to define this pulse that I will assign to LED. Okay, and then I will close and behavioral, right? So when you are doing this coding, FPGA coding, what we have to do? When you are doing this coding, what we have to do? First we are writing a program in the Xilinx ISC, right? Then once it is programmed and compiled, it will generate a configuration bit file. Okay, once the bit file is done through JTAG or USB port, I can dump that code on the, so this is a JTAG cable, this is a JTAG cable or USB cable. I can dump this code on a processor, right? And there are some other interfaces as well. Let's say these are not connected, you have to program it, right? So using JTAG you have dumped the program here. Is it clear? Is this clear to you? Then explicitly you define the connection here and interfacing here to the input also. So that you have to done explicitly in the UCF. Okay, so I will recommend you to download the Xilinx ISE and you can write very small code, so you will get an idea to implement a very small digital circuit. How can I implement a digital circuit in the FPGA? Now for defining any development in the FPGA, so first what I have to do, so if I talk about the development of any digital circuit in FPGA, what I have to do first? I have to define the problem, right? Or I have to define the design problem, like what kind of problem I want to implement, right? Then what I will do? I will define the entity and behavioral. Okay, so behavioral description, right? So we have to define the or describe the behavior of that system. Then what I will do? I will design a gate level schematic, and state diagram. Okay, so initial days people used to do manually this thing through K-maps and all, but nowadays we have to design very complex systems, so this cannot be done manually. Okay, it is very difficult to do manually. So nowadays there is a HDL programmer. Okay, VHDL has basically HDL programmer, so which defines they define automatically. So they do this schematic and state diagram automatically. So no need to do manually, right? So it is replaced now with this HDL description. Okay, so previously we used to define it in the gate terms, gate level circuitry or gate level schematic, but now we have to just give the HDL description. And finally, once this is simulated or synthesized, we can go for hardware implementation. Hardware implementation, or that is, we define it as an RTL design. So when it is synthesized and bit file is generated, you can even go and check the RTL design, that is register transistor logic design. So you can, there in RTL design you can optimize the area and power and other constraints, right, by rerouting and placing task. Now actually what HDL does actually. So HDL, what it does actually, it synthesize your behavioral model. Okay, behavioral model. Okay, so what is your behavioral model? So suppose you are giving some problem, I have to check that that can be implemented or not, right? So first of all I have to check with the abstraction level. So whatever the design description is given to me, that can be implemented, right? So once this can be done in HDL, the next thing HDL will do, I can or HDL can design the functional, HDL can develop a functional design of that behavior model, right? So what is functional design? Functional design means whatever the functions are given, those are realizable, that can be checked with the HDL coder, right? Then next what it will do, it will go to the gate level schematics. So automatically it will give the gate level schematics. We no need to do manually, right? Okay, and that can be done by a technology that is called as specific netlist. Okay, and you, in fact, before going for implementation, you can test the hardware also. That is not practically you have implemented it, but you can test it in HDL itself. That how the hardware will going to work. So you can do the early testing. And one more thing you can that is very important. Suppose I have designed an HDL description of any system, I can reuse it. Okay, how will I reuse it? As I already told, we can define and sell the IPs, intellectual. This is not intellectual properties. You remember that? So people used to design the course, right? So that course can be bought, right? So you can even reuse that designed intellectual course, right? So so using when we are making this IPs, I can reuse that design. Okay, now this implementation can be done either in VHDL or in Verilog. There is one more system, Verilog, but we will not study that. Mostly these two are used only. So what is the difference between VHDL and Verilog? So if you talk about VHDL, it is initially developed for ASIC designs only. Initially it was developed by ASIC design, and it is developed by US Defense. Okay, however, this was actually designed to design as an interpreted language for gate level schematics or gate level simulations. Okay, and it was developed by Gateway Design, Gateway Automation. The company named was Gateway Automation, and it was later acquired by Cadence, right? So your Verilog is nothing but it is a kind of C-like language, so which is easier, but VHDL is a kind of rich language and it is harder to understand as compared to Verilog, but it has package management. You can manage various packages, VHDL packages, which cannot be done in Verilog. Okay, so this Verilog and VHDL both are having behavioral, structural, logic level modeling. Okay, so you can any behavior model, structural model you can implement both in VHDL and Verilog. And you can synthesize also. You can synthesize those models both in VHDL and Verilog, right? So if I want to do any hardware synthesis, so I can do using HDL synthesis. Okay, synthesis means before going for actual hardware implementation, you can actually check or you can synthesize any hardware circuitry or gate circuitry. So what I have to do, first I have to define the HDL description. Okay, then I'll check the function and all the requirements if these are satisfying or not. So that can be done in logic synthesis. Okay, so all these things you can do, like what are the logic that can be implemented, the functional implementation, then you can map to the target library, optimize speed and all those things that can be done in logic synthesis. Once this is done, I will get the gate level netlist. Okay, once the gate level netlist is given to you, still you can basically do the optimization in place and basically area optimization you can do, and finally you can go for FPGA or ASIC kind of implementation. So this is the basically general flow for hardware implementation of any digital circuit on FPGA. So in the next class we will study about so in the next class, lecture 8, we will study about Arduino. Okay, and we will see couple of examples that how can I implement